Senator Blumenthal has focused on Facebook and current investigations. I just would add to what he said that this subcommittee and me personally will do everything we can to provide you the resources, both legal and financial, and we will continue to monitor. We obviously want more information than you're capable of giving us, Mr. Chairman, at this point in time, but we're going to pay a lot of attention to this issue, and by that I think we're conveying its importance to us, to you. Let me start with the resource question. Senator Udall and I used to serve together on FSGG that funds the FTC. He abandoned me, so I think I'm the only appropriator in the room. I would say to you that I have a strong interest in ensuring that your agency has the resources it needs to effectively and efficiently protect consumers from unfair and deceptive practices. In part, our efforts will be determined by what the administration and you request in your budget submission. I would start with, because I think your workload is growing and I think it is going to continue to grow. I think it's conceivable that Congress will give you greater authorities, but let's start with just what you have current authority to do at the FTC. Let me see if I can get you to tell me in short order, in few words, does the FTC have the necessary resources to enforce its current consumer data privacy and security authorities as provided by Section 5 of the FTC Act and other relevant statutes?
Senator, I think we do, but let me also say that if we had additional resources, I guarantee they could be put to very good use.
So, I mean, I think anyone could say that, Mr. Chairman. I think I've heard that in my own household.
Fair.
So, what is it that you would do if you had more resources? Let me make certain I stick with the current. What would you do under your current authorization? What you're legally obligated to do? What more would you do if you had additional resources?
So I think we would. We have an enormous litigation level going on inside the Commission. And if that remains the same, our staff is literally almost killing themselves. They're working so hard on these litigations. If that remains at a historic high level or increases, we would need more resources. We would need more resources for that. In addition, we probably could use some resources with respect to the Bureau of Economics and also technology resources.
It's my understanding that a significant amount of work at the FTC is provided by consultants and by outside counsel. Is that the best method by which you can perform your responsibilities?
So not so much outside counsel, but consultants, experts, so economists, technology people. And what we want to do is we want to have a good mix, because we want to have the technology available to us that we need. And so that may vary from case to case. And so sometimes you'll have new types of cases that you haven't had before, and you bring in a consultant specifically for that case, because that may be, may come and go. It may not be sustained. So I think you want a mix. You want a core of people who are inside the agency and supplement that with outside consultants.
Let me, I've tried to focus, and I want to make sure that any commissioner who has a comment to make about this topic has that opportunity, but I've tried to get you to tell me about current responsibilities and current needs for resources based upon those current responsibilities. I also would ask you that as we develop, and I indicated in my opening statement, and Senator Blumenthal confirmed in his, that we're working to author legislation related to privacy. I also need from you not only your, as Commissioner Phillips indicated, a willingness to provide us, and a number of you indicated the things that you would suggest in that legislation, but I also need to understand what the additional resources that would be necessary, that would come with additional responsibilities or greater authorities at the FTC. So I want to make sure that as we develop legislation, we're not operating in a vacuum in which we would have the likelihood of saying, well, this is what the law should be, but knowing that the law would be somewhat irrelevant if the resources aren't there to enforce the new authority. So I need to know what additional resources it would take as we develop this legislation. Let me see if any of the commissioners have anything they'd like to respond to my questions or comments that perhaps different than the chairman.
Well, Senator, I'll just add that with respect to data privacy and security, more and more sectors of our economy, whether it's the automotive industry, the agriculture industry, retail, there is more and more data collection, and our largest firms in the economy are relying heavily on how to monetize that data. So this is not just about consumer-facing businesses. It is a bigger and bigger part of U.S. GDP. And if that is going to grow, then the FTC's resources have to grow commensurately. When cities grow and get much bigger, they hire more cops, and we have to do the same for
Anyone need or want or need to add something to this?
Yeah,
Commissioner Slaughter.
I'll echo what Commissioner Chopra said and say I agree with everything Chairman Simon said he would do with more resources. I would depart only that I think we do need them. I don't think that we have enough resources right now to do the job that consumers and Congress expects of us. I think we want to do that job, and those additional technologists, those additional employees, getting us anywhere back to near the staffing levels we had in the Reagan administration, I think would be very valuable to carry out our mission.
Let me say, just from my perspective, I've never met an agency or a department or a commission that didn't believe they needed more resources. I hear it on an ongoing basis, but I think this is different. I'm sympathetic to that plea because the volume, as Commissioner Chopra says, the city is growing. And there has to be a greater focus on how we spend the money, but that is insufficient in this case, I think, to have the necessary resources to meet the demand.
Senator,
Yes, Senator Felton.
one very short thing to add,
Didn't mean to
and I
defame you.
suspect my colleagues will agree with me. As my colleagues have said, it bears repeating. We work very nimbly and we work very efficiently. So you should trust in the fact that we are giving great credence to the resources we are giving and we are employing them efficiently.
Thank you. Senator Klobuchar.